Good morning, everybody. My name is Jordan Cram. I'm the CEO of Enstoa. And at Enstoa, we are doing a lot of exciting things to accelerate digital transformation for the built environment. This one, Starfish Spaces, I am in love with, and I'm really excited to share it with you today. Starfish Spaces allows you to make your spaces easy to manage and managed completely. A little background, 5, 6, maybe 7 years ago, the Enstoa team was sitting together saying, wouldn't it be great if we could have a virtual replication of the existing buildings? Not like those theoretical ones, but something that modeled the imperfection of the existing buildings. And it would make capital projects faster and better. It would allow for assets to be managed more effectively. Back then, we weren't like thinking digital twin. We didn't yet have a machine learning capability. So after many years, a lot of experimentation, we birthed Starfish Spaces. That is a right-sized tool. It is accurate and it's comprehensive. It allows the capital planning teams to go from plan approval to design start. We can skip those tedious, difficult steps of site surveys and getting the design partners out to really take pictures and model the existing condition because they can get access to all that information. The engineering teams can look at assets on the 4th floor, in the equipment room, and they can do that from their desk, across town or in another state. Because we can capture the X, Y, Z coordinates of all the assets in the existing building. The leadership team can run space scenarios, they can discuss move plans, consolidations, and they can do that with the confidence that they're working off of a rock-solid baseline and work with their real estate partners to do so. And it's not just those key groups in the built environment. It's when we went throughout a hospital system, we found wow, there's a lot of people with space inventory needs. There are a lot of spreadsheets, bed management, security, IT, environmental services, even the treasury group. So there's a lot of people that have got that space spreadsheet, and guess what? I mean, you know this, it's not accurate. And it's not accurate because it wasn't accurate based on the information in the first place. So as time went by, it just increased in its inaccuracy, and it makes scenarios that you all need to produce really difficult and time-consuming. And people lack confidence. We worked, Enstoa was part of a group with ASHI and with FGI to develop space nomenclature standards and equipment classification standards. And that was really, really important. It took us years to do that, such that we could quickly catalog spaces and map them into the right categories. And so what individuals can do is they can go explore those spaces, like you might with a Google Street Viewer. They can have confidence that the location hierarchy is in fact in reality, that room signage maps to the room plan. So we'll look at a little more detail in how we do this. There's an Enstoa associate who's a bit teched out using some equipment, a combination of point clouds and LiDAR and photogrammetry systems that quite literally zooms around the hospital, around the buildings, and anywhere from around 50,000 to 100,000 square feet a day, and captures the imagery. And that is then used to produce a 3D model, basically a Revit file of the existing condition. As I mentioned, capturing also the imperfect, because that is reality. We then are able to, now this is kind of the fun part, is that we do a compare against existing documentation. Let's just say you just finished a new building and you have an as-built model. Well, we get to compare against that. Or you've got PDFs of drawings that were sitting in the archive room and we can compare against that. And you can just see an example of an overlay here where the building itself is way off, and walls are in different locations. One case we finished recently, the building was 9% larger in square footage than the plan. So we'll still compare against the existing conditions, but the reality trumps, because things change as you move through construction, and certainly things change over the course of many, many renovations over the years. We then produce the classic documentation that organizations need: architectural plans, room types, department plans, life safety plans. We can get to a lot of detail, and I just kind of want to zoom through an example here of a windowsill that was captured to show the detail that is now available with technology. Plant rooms, really complex to kind of understand systems and routing. And there too, we're able to model down, not to the tiny wire, but to a lot of detail of the plant room, and giving engineers confidence and the ability to trace systems, understand what they have, without having to get ladders, go up and look at that stuff. And all of those assets and components are then cataloged as well. Enstoa, we're a data company. We put a layer of analytics on top of that, and kind of literally from 50,000 feet, we can look down at that portfolio and understand how many square feet do we have by departments, by building, in regions. What is our mix of owned versus leased space? We can go from here and drill down into rooms. We have information on the use of the rooms. So we have an analytics layer that sits on top of that database. The architecture's pretty simple. We use Revit, like many of you do, and you kind of think of Revit in our case as the database, and we just make that database really robust with hanging additional attributes off of it. We use BIM 360 as essentially the cloud file storage. We use Navis for a lot of our equipment capture, and they have a cloud product that gives us that street viewer equivalent. And Starfish Spaces acts as a wrapper around these things, again with that analytics layer on top, maintains security, and ease of access for end users. There are some additional things we can do. I do get asked, what about going above the ceiling? What about, can you help us update those models more frequently? We can do all those things, integrate that information into financial, even Epic as a system, or into your computerized maintenance management system. Starfish Spaces is a limb in a suite called Starfish at Enstoa. We have a projects limb, we have a total cost of ownership limb, and we have an asset limb. And with that, I'm going to conclude, and I hope that you have generated the same little bit of the enthusiasm I have for this particular solution. And there I even beat my 11-minute time slot. Thank you all very much.